Welcome back, everyone. We're diving deep into the life of St. Joseph today. You think you know a guy, but there's always more to discover, right?
Absolutely. There's so much we can learn about him that goes beyond those familiar biblical accounts.
Right. We're going beyond the surface today. Like, what did mystics and saints reveal about his hidden life? What were his experiences like, behind the scenes?
Well, for starters, his story is full of intense spiritual battles.
Yeah, I read about that. It's kind of mind-blowing, really.
Yeah.
Like, here's St. Joseph, this holy man so close to Jesus, but even he was targeted by Satan.
Oh, yeah. The attacks were relentless, apparently, but Joseph, he didn't just stand there. He fought back with prayer, often combined with fasting.
Wow. So, like a spiritual warrior.
You could say that, and the spiritual weapons, they really weakened Satan, left him defeated and powerless.
It's a good reminder for all of us, isn't it? Prayer is powerful.
It really is. And fasting, too. Don't forget that.
True. So St. Joseph, the silent warrior, wielding prayer like a sword. I like that.
I think that image really captures his strength. And it's interesting, his name itself actually means the growing one. It's like amidst all these trials, he's constantly growing stronger in his faith.
That's a good point. He's not just some static figure in a story. He's evolving, becoming the man God needed him to be.
Exactly. And speaking of interesting details, did you know there's some debate about Mary's birthplace?
Oh, right. It's not necessarily Nazareth. I'd always assumed it was.
That's what many people believe. But over 20 popes have actually supported a different idea based on the writings of St. John Damascene.
What's that?
That she was born in Jerusalem. There's even an image in St. Anne's Church in Jerusalem, and the Grotto of the Nativity they think might be the very spot where she was born. Isn't that incredible?
Wow. It's amazing to think we might know the exact place where the Blessed Mother was born. It brings those historical accounts to life.
It does, doesn't it? And speaking of bringing things to life, have you ever delved into St. Joseph's family tree? It's way more interesting than you might think.
Wait, really? I always figured it was pretty straightforward. What's the catch?
Well, for starters, Joseph's father, Jacob, had a brother named Joachim, who just so happened to be Mary's father.
No way. So Mary and Joseph were cousins.
That's right.
Wow, that adds a whole new layer to their relationship, doesn't it?
It certainly does. It makes you think about their family dynamics, their shared history.
Totally. It's a reminder that even these figures we see as almost larger than life, they were part of a family with all its complexities.
Exactly. And they were part of a specific culture and time period, too, a world where family ties were deeply connected to everything.
Speaking of cultural practices, I was struck by how important the circumcision ceremony was in Jesus' life. It wasn't just a ritual. It was a huge responsibility for Joseph.
Naming a child back then was a big deal. The father, he had this crucial role bestowing the name, praying for blessings. It wasn't just picking a name you liked. It had deep spiritual significance.
Yeah. Can you imagine the weight of that responsibility, naming the Son of God?
It must have been an incredible moment for Joseph, publicly acknowledging Jesus' divine mission as the Savior.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it solidifies his role as the legal father, too, right? Stepping into that position with faith and obedience.
Precisely.
Yeah.
He was fulfilling his duty to tradition and to God. Now, before we get too far ahead, I think it's important to pause and consider Mary's parents, Joachim and Anne.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They faced a lot of hardship, especially with the social stigma around childlessness back then.
It must have been incredibly painful, especially when that priest publicly humiliated Joachim for it. Imagine that.
It's a reminder that even the holiest people experience pain and rejection.
Absolutely. But they never lost faith. And then, during prayer at the temple, they received the news of Mary's conception. What a powerful testament to their belief in God's plan.
It gives me chills every time I think about it. It's like a miracle born from their unwavering faith, even in the face of such adversity.
And then Mary grows up, and she spends her childhood at the temple.
It's such a unique upbringing, isn't it? To dedicate your life to God from such a young age.
She was surrounded by priests and scholars, learning the scriptures, deepening her love for God.
And then she leaves the temple, and it's time to choose a spouse. And God intervenes in this spectacular way.
Right. He reveals Joseph as the chosen one. And the way the sources describe it, Joseph's staff bursting into bloom, a white dove descending upon him, it's breathtaking.
I know. It's like a scene from a movie. It must have been amazing to witness that, to see God's hand at work so clearly. And it makes you wonder, Was Joseph young, like the patriarch Joseph?
That's a great question. We often picture him as an older man, but the sources suggest he might have been quite young. After all, rabbis at the time encouraged marriage between the ages of 13 and 19, and Joseph was a devout man, likely following tradition.
So we have this young Mary and a young Joseph, both full of faith and devotion, embarking on this extraordinary journey together.
It's such a beautiful love story, a testament to the power of shared faith and mutual respect.
And it challenges our modern idea of romance, doesn't it? True love isn't just about passion. It's about sharing values, supporting each other's spiritual growth, and finding that deep connection that transcends the physical.
And Mary trusted Joseph so much that she confided in him about her vow of chastity.
Wow. Their relationship really was built on this foundation of deep respect and spiritual connection.
Absolutely. And that connection, that shared purpose, would be so important in the challenges they would face together. It really is a remarkable example of a love grounded in something greater than themselves. Their faith was their foundation.
And that foundation would be tested, wouldn't it? Because their lives were far from easy. Even the selection of Joseph as Mary's spouse. I mean, talk about a divine intervention.
Oh, absolutely. You can practically feel the buzz in the air, right? All those eligible young men at the temple, each with their staff, waiting for a sign from God. It's like something out of a dream.
It's almost like you could picture it, right? The anticipation, and then suddenly Joseph's staff bursts into bloom.
And a dove descends upon him. It's like, bam! God's choice is clear.
It must have been incredible to be there. A moment filled with awe and wonder.
Yeah.
But then their peaceful life, well, it takes this unexpected turn when Mary reveals her pregnancy to Joseph.
Oh man, talk about a bombshell. I can't even begin to imagine what must have been going through his mind. The woman he loves pledged to chastity, and now she's expecting a child.
It's heartbreaking in a way, isn't it? Because the sources really highlight his compassion. He chooses to divorce her quietly, wanting to protect her honor even as he's grappling with this impossible situation.
He's such a good man, so righteous, so full of love for Mary. But then God steps in again, this time with an angel appearing to Joseph in a dream.
It's like a divine intervention, right? A message from heaven delivered in the quiet of the night.
Exactly. The angel reveals the truth that Mary's pregnancy is a miracle, a work of the Holy Spirit, and that Joseph is to be the protector of the Son of God. Can you imagine?
It must have been such a relief for him, and also completely overwhelming. But he accepts his role, without hesitation.
He doesn't question. He doesn't doubt. He just says yes. And that yes changes everything. It's a powerful reminder for all of us, I think, to be open to God's plan, even when it seems impossible, even when it doesn't make sense.
That's a great point. And, their marriage itself, it's more than just a social contract, right? The sources really emphasize the importance of their union in God's plan.
Absolutely. It protected Mary from accusations and gave Jesus a legal father, but some scholars even call it a divine romance.
I love that. A divine romance.
Yeah.
It really captures the essence of their love, their devotion to each other and to God.
It's a love that goes beyond passion. It's about shared purpose, sacrifice, and unwavering faith.
And they would need all of that faith and strength for the journey ahead. Just think about their trip to Bethlehem for the census. Mary, pregnant, traveling long distances in those conditions. It must have been grueling.
The sources say they were turned away from over 50 places before finding shelter. Can you imagine the exhaustion, the disappointment, the growing anxiety as they searched for a place to stay?
It breaks your heart just thinking about it, especially with Mary being so close to giving birth.
And then they finally find refuge in a humble stable.
It's an image that has resonated throughout history, hasn't it? The King of Kings, born in a stable. It's a reminder that God's love often appears in the most unexpected places, in the simplicity and the humility of the everyday.
Exactly. God's power is not about grandeur or spectacle. It's about love, pure and simple. But their hardships didn't end there. They were soon forced to flee to Egypt to escape Herod's wrath.
Another perilous journey, this time with a newborn baby. Can you imagine the fear, the uncertainty, leaving everything behind, traveling to a foreign land? It must have been terrifying.
They faced the unknown with courage and faith, putting their complete trust in God's protection. And it wasn't just a quick trip either. They spent several years in Egypt.
Years. Wow, I never really thought about that. It must have been so challenging, starting over in a new place, navigating a different culture.
It certainly wasn't easy, but they did it. They created a home for Jesus, nurtured his growth, and kept him safe.
It's incredible. They faced every obstacle with unwavering love and determination. And then finally, after Herod's death, an angel guides them back to Nazareth.
And there, Life takes on a new rhythm. Joseph returns to his work as a carpenter, teaching his trade to Jesus.
Imagine that. Jesus, the Son of God, learning from his earthly father, working alongside him in the carpentry shop. It's such a beautiful image, isn't it?
It is. It reminds us that God chose to enter our world through the ordinary, the everyday experiences that connect us all.
And Joseph, he's there every step of the way, providing for his family, passing on his skills. The sources describe his workshop as this place of warmth and industry, where Jesus learns not just about carpentry, but about life.
It's easy to picture them, isn't it? The sounds of tools, the scent of wood, the quiet conversations between father and son. It's a reminder that the divine can be found in the simplest of tasks, in the love and connection we share with others.
And through it all, Joseph remains that steady, silent presence. Always there, always working, always providing.
His silence speaks volumes, doesn't it? It's a sign of his humility, his willingness to step back and let God's plan unfold. He's not seeking attention or praise. He's simply living his life, fulfilling his responsibilities with love and integrity.
He's such a powerful example for us all, especially for fathers. He wasn't Jesus's biological father, but he embraced that role completely.
It's a beautiful example of what it truly means to be a father, to love, to protect, to guide, to be present. And his presence in Jesus's life, it provided this foundation of stability, of love and guidance that shaped Jesus into the man he would become.
Absolutely. And his life, just like Mary's, it wasn't without its challenges. The 7 joys and 7 sorrows of St. Joseph, they paint this vivid picture of his emotional journey.
It's the full spectrum of human experience, right? The joy of the Annunciation, the finding of Jesus in the temple, but also the sorrow of Simeon's prophecy, the anxiety of fleeing to Egypt.
It's a reminder that even those closest to God experience the full range of human emotions: joy, sorrow, fear, doubt.
And through it all, Joseph remains steadfast in his faith. He doesn't crumble under the weight of those sorrows. He perseveres.
He's a protector, isn't he? Not just physically, but spiritually. Shielding Mary and Jesus from harm. It's like he stands between them and the dangers of the world.
It's a comforting image, right? Knowing that even in the midst of chaos and uncertainty, there's someone watching over us, guarding us from harm. And that protection, it extends beyond the physical. Joseph's deep faith and devotion, it created this spiritual shield around his family. It's a powerful reminder that we're never truly alone. And even today, people turn to St. Joseph for guidance and protection.
That's right. He's a popular saint, isn't he?
Oh, definitely. The patron saint of families, workers, travelers, and those seeking a peaceful death.
It makes sense. His life was full of those things: family, work, travel, facing death with faith.
Exactly. His quiet strength and unwavering faith, they make him a powerful intercessor, a source of hope and comfort for so many.
It's incredible how his story continues to resonate with people centuries later.
It really is. I think it's because his life, while rooted in that specific historical context, speaks to these universal human experiences, the joys and sorrows of family life, the challenges of being a father, the importance of faith and perseverance in the face of hardship.
Absolutely. His story transcends time and culture. It offers this timeless wisdom and inspiration for us all. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the hidden life of St. Joseph, what are some key takeaways we can glean from his journey?
Well, I think his story is this powerful model of quiet faith, humility, and dedication. He teaches us to embrace our roles in life, to fulfill our responsibilities with love and integrity, and to trust in God's plan, even when we don't fully understand it.
He's a reminder that true greatness, it doesn't always come with fanfare and recognition. It can be found in those quiet, everyday acts of love and service and devotion.
And that true strength, it lies not in power or dominance, but in humility, compassion, and unwavering love.
Beautifully said. Well, I hope this deep dive has given all of you a deeper appreciation for the hidden life of St. Joseph. He may have been a silent figure in the Gospels, but his impact on history, on countless lives, it's truly immeasurable.
As you go about your day, think about how St. Joseph's example can inspire you to live a little differently. How can you cultivate that quiet strength in your own life? How can you find the sacred in the ordinary?
Great questions. And thank you all for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.